he was not guilty of anything, that what he did, well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing, you fake news. But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him.
One of the narratives that we hear all the time from Republicans is that Donald Trump is here to save the country. Donald Trump is here to do the will of the people, to make the lives of Americans better. The odd thing, the self-evident thing, the thing that is just glaringly obvious is the fact that he is doing things to enrich himself, to imbue himself with more and more power and influence and control over the very mechanisms of government that no other president in the history of our country has wielded. And he does it to enrich himself. Even his pardons. Yesterday, he was asked a question about, let me also say this, he's also very confused about everything because he's not truly the puller of the levers of power in the government. He has a couple of shadow presidents. He's got Stephen Miller, who I've talked about at length. He's got Russell Vought, and he's got others. People who actually are running the government. People who are actually directing the agenda of policy in the country, while Donald Trump sees fit to enrich himself. And he was asked a question yesterday after having pardoned CZ Zhao, a Chinese-born crypto influencer, not really an influencer, he's a billionaire. He's a wildly wealthy person who has business interest with Donald Trump, World Liberty Financial, you know, the company that Donald Trump's goofy kids run. And he's been pardoned by Donald Trump. And when asked a question about it, Trump acts like he's all confused. He doesn't know who's this. I don't know. People said he's a really good guy. And we'll get to that because the things that he has pleaded guilty to and the accusations against him by the previous administration and the Justice Department, the things he pleaded guilty to are that the money laundering relative to the funding of Hamas. And you would think that there's not a genocide in Gaza that Republicans don't love and get behind, that they would be against the financing of terrorism through Hamas. And that's what we're looking at here. But listen to this answer to a question about the pardon, the confusion for one, and I don't know if he's feigning confusion or if his brain really just malfunctioned in the moment. There's no way to know. But watch his answer. We'll talk about who CZ Zhao is, and then also something that Caroline Levitt said.
You pardoned the founder of Binance. Can you explain why you chose to pardon him, and did it have anything to do with his involvement in your family's?
Which one? Who is that?
The founder of Binance. He has an involvement in your own family's crypto business.
The recent one, yes. I believe we're talking about the same person because I do pardon a lot of people. I don't know. He was recommended by a lot of people. A lot of people say that, are you talking about the crypto person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything. He served 4 months in jail, and they say that he was not guilty of anything, that what he did, well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing, you fake news. But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him. But I've been told by a lot of support. He had a lot of support. And they said that what he did is not even a crime. It wasn't a crime, that he was persecuted by the Biden administration. And so I gave him a pardon at the request of a lot of very good people.
You know Donald Trump is up to some no good shit when he acts like he doesn't know. When he says, I believe we're talking about the same person because I do pardon a lot of people. Which one was that? Who's that? Oh, I wonder how much money he gave me. I do pardon a lot of people. I don't know. He was recommended by a lot of people. He does the same thing that Mike Johnson does when asked a question about Donald Trump's impropriety and, the raping of children. I haven't heard that. I haven't looked into that. I don't know. I'm unprepared for the question. You'll have to ask me later. And then he's never prepared. It's the same thing Donald Trump does. Caroline Levitt had this to say. Then I'm going to get into, very briefly, a little bit from this Reuters article about what exactly he did, what exactly has been alleged, and his guilty plea in the matter. But first, paid liar with lips ablazing, according to Donald Trump, Caroline Levitt.
To questions on different topics, if you'll
Sure.
indulge me. On the pardon of Changpeng Zhao, and apologies if I'm mispronouncing that name, Binance has significant business interests with World Liberty Financial, the president's family's crypto company. How do you respond to the allegations from Democrats that this is a corrupt act?
I would respond and say the president is exercising his constitutional authority to grant clemency requests. And the president and the White House have a very thorough examination of every pardon request that comes to the president's desk. It is thoroughly reviewed by the White House counsel office, and I spoke with our great White House counsel about the pardon after it happened. This was an overly prosecuted case by the Biden administration. Even the judge in the case admitted that the Biden administration was pursuing a egregious over-sentencing of this individual, and the previous administration was very hostile to the cryptocurrency industry. So the president wants to correct this overreach of the Biden administration's misjustice, and he exercised his constitutional authority to do so. And to the Democrats, I would just say there's nothing more corrupt than what President Biden did on his way out the door, pardoning his extremely corrupt son and many of his associates.
That is a remarkable moment. This guy has direct business interest with the kids of Donald Trump, with Donald Trump himself. What do you say about the calls that this is improper, that this is unethical, that this is self-dealing, that he would pardon this guy who's going straight back into the crypto market now that he's pardoned? What would you say to that? The president has the right to pardon him. No answer about the corruption at all. That should tell you. Listen, it's the same thing I say all the time, that oftentimes it's what's not said that tells you the most, and it's the part of the question that she refused to answer that tells us everything. Now, let me tell you a little bit about who this guy is. This is from Reuters. Trump pardons convicted Binance founder CZ Zhao. U.S. authorities said in 2023 that Binance had failed to report suspicious transactions with organizations including Hamas and Al Qaeda, and with websites dedicated to selling child sex abuse materials. All three of those things are something that Republican voters, at the very least, the QAnon crowd, the Save the Children crowd, they would be against. They would be against sex trafficking. They would be against the abuse of children, right? That's what they claim. That's what they say. They can't stop talking about it, although now they're all mousy relative to the release of the Epstein files. But also Al Qaeda, also Hamas. Ooh, dangerous terrorism. But they're going to let this guy be pardoned, and there's no word about it. Zhao, a citizen of Canada who was born in China, personally paid a $50 million fine and served nearly 4 months in prison last year after pleading guilty to the same charge as his company. After pleading guilty, that's admitting to the crime. However, he kept his Binance stake while one of his appointees was made chief executive. "I've made mistakes and I must take responsibility," Zhao said when he stepped down. "I've made mistakes and I must take responsibility," he said when he stepped down, when he pleaded guilty to the crime. The full and unconditional pardon could pave the way for him to return to the business he co-founded in 2017. It may also offer the chance for Binance to expand in the United States as the crypto industry booms under the Trump administration. A spokesperson for Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange by trading volumes, thanked Trump for his leadership. That's where people know exactly how to deal with Trump, how to manipulate Trump, how to get what they want from Trump. You praise him or you pay him. And both of those things came to pass in this case. They thanked him for his leadership. "Thank you for your divine providence," as Steve Bannon likes to talk about. "But also your leadership, sir. With tears in my eyes, thank you," while they're paying him under the table millions, hundreds of millions of dollars going into business with his dopey, goofy sons. This is corruption. Public corruption that we should just get used to while Donald Trump is president. And that leads me to why the midterms are so important. They're going to try to rig them. They're going to try to cheat. And that is why we need to show up in full force. Everybody, if you're an occasional voter, the midterms are especially precarious because of the fact that people don't show up like they do for general elections I hope that people do show up like they showed up this last weekend with the No Kings rallies, with the No Kings protests. We need millions and millions and millions of people to show up and voice their concern, their objections to what is taking place in this country. You can also voice your objections. Look at that. What a great segue. In the comments below this video, wherever you're watching it, whether that be Facebook or YouTube, you can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. We are on patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. For $2 a month, you can help produce these videos and help me reach the millions, sometimes tens of millions of people on a monthly basis. You can take part in that. You can also, right here on YouTube, click the join button below the video to become a channel member, again, for $2 a month. I love and appreciate you very much. We're going to get through this. It might be longer than we would like, but we will get through it. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.